Hey, what's happening, YouTubers? We're back with a brand new action figure review, and today we're going to take a look at the new Hasbro Mech Strike Monster Hunters series. I picked up Thor, Black Panther, Dr. Doom, and Iron Man, which is like in this Hulkbuster type of outfit, which is pretty dope. But anyways, I picked this up because it's a little different from what I collected, what I review here on the channel. But I picked this up just because aesthetics of it, like it just reminds me of when I was a kid, when Toy Biz would do like these crazy ass things with like X-Men characters or Marvel characters, where they would like transform them into something like Wolverine was like some beast or some crap like that. It kind of reminded me of that. And I was like, oh, cool. And then I went to go look this up and see what Monster Hunters was. And Mech Strike, it actually is a series on Marvel's, I think it's Marvel HQ YouTube channel. So there's like a little mini series going on right now. It started with Mech Strike, it evolved into Monster Hunters. But basically the backstory is Dr. Doom has the mystical eye. That's why you see all these figures have an eye on their chest. But anyways, Dr. Doom has the mystical eye, and he turns the Green Goblin into this monster. The Avengers, I think it's Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man go to fight him, but they realize he's too strong, so Doctor Strange uses his own mystical eye and puts it on the Avengers, and they're able to fight them back. I know what I'm describing right now sounds really crazy and like I'm on acid or something, but it's actually pretty entertaining. I highly recommend checking it out when you get a chance. They're only like 4 to 5 minutes long, so it's pretty cool. They're pretty interesting. They're pretty short, so it doesn't require too much time to watch, but I like them. And the cool thing about that Mech Strike suits, I like Doctor Strange. I'm hoping at some point Hasbro does one of his. But anyways, enough about all that. Let's go and take a look at these figures. I'm going to start with Thor first, and then we're going to work our way to the big-ass Iron Man figure in the back. All right, here's Thor first. Then you see the image of Thor right there, his Monster Hunter suit. And then the back, you see this great battle. It's pretty cool. So you see Thanos right there. I know they're going to come out with a deluxe version of him and Loki at some point. I might pick up the Loki one, but then you see the other suits as well. I did see the Captain America one. I didn't see Hulk or Spider-Man, but I'd like to think those are going to be next in the wave. Anyways, let's go and get Thor out of the box. Here's Thor out of the box, and then here's his hammer. This is pretty cool, actually. When we take a look at it closely, you see the sculpting of the eye in there. Obviously, it's not going to have the level of paint detailed like a Marvel Legend would, but the sculpting is pretty nice. It would have been cool to see them paint the eye, but still, you see the rest of Mjolnir. It's actually pretty detailed, really nice. And you see the little strap for his hammer and the handle. This is really, really nice. I'm impressed for a basic figure. This is pretty cool. Now, let's take a look at the figure itself. Let's look at the head sculpt, and that's another thing I'm pretty impressed about. Like, when you look at the sculpting of his helmet, that's pretty damn good. Like, when you look at the detail of it throughout, that's really nice. And when you see his face, of course, it has like that robotic look because these are based off of like Mech Strike looks, just Monster Hunter version, like zombified, I guess you can call it. But that's really nice. I like the application of the silver paint right there, the blue eyes. And then you can see throughout his body, it does have nice sculpting details on there. Again, it lacks paint deco or paint application just because it is a basic figure. So I'm sure the budget was all put into these sculpts, but it would have been nice to see these painted on there too. You see like the chain armor right there too. It's really nice. And then it's just all throughout the figure. The sculpting looks really, really good. There's a lot of attention to detail on these things for this is $11. For $11 figure, this isn't bad. Now, when it comes to articulation, at first glance, I thought these were just regular cuts and just goes forward only. But even though it's blocked by this, you can actually move them out like that. That's pretty good. They're single jointed knees, but with single jointed knees, you can move them around. There is a little swivel in there. Now, when it comes to the arms, I'm a little bit disappointed. I understand why they chose this route. It's only able to go up and down. There isn't a swivel on there to bring the shoulders out. That's because it's hindered by this shoulder pad. If this were Marvel Legends, they would have made this like a easily rubber piece where you can just move it up. But different budgets, and I think a lot of the budget, like I mentioned, went into the sculpting, which I'm happy because it looks really nice. Now, when I look closer into the eyeball there, it's a little bit splotchy, but that's to be expected. With mass release figures, there are going to be some QC issues. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention they are single jointed elbows and can barely get 90 degrees, but whatever. You can swivel it from left to right. All right, now let's take a look at Black Panther next. You see the box art of Black Panther on the back, same image that you saw before. All right, let's get him out of the packaging. All right, here's Black Panther out of the box. Let's take a look at his accessory. So it looks like it comes with this kind of like a Wakandan shield. It looks similar to like what Captain America used in Infinity War, but like I mentioned with the Thor weapon, this thing looks awesome. Like you see the spikes and the details. Of course, there is the mystical eye, and like I mentioned, probably couldn't paint it just because of budget reasons, but the sculpting of the shield looks pretty impressive. And then on the back of it, it pegs into either arm of Black Panther, either on his right or left arm. But I'm highly impressed with the way they sculpted these weapons. A high attention to detail, in my opinion. I'm going to take a look at the figure itself. I think I didn't collect the original Mech Strike figures that came out, I think, last year. I have one, an Iron Man one, which I'll show in a little bit. But I think some of this is reused from that body mold. They just added more intricate details like with the monster stuff, like the mystical eye right there. When we take a look at the head sculpt of Black Panther, that's pretty cool, just like Thor's. I'm just in awe to see these types of versions being made just because, like I said, it's kind of trippy and it does remind me a lot from when I was a kid collecting figures from Toy Biz. They would do these cool gimmicks, but this is one of those gimmicks where I think it actually really works for Hasbro and for the Avengers team. Like, I love this silver finish on his gauntlets and his hand and the silver finish around his necklace. And if you zoom in closer, you see a little paint splotch. Again, QC issues, but I'm not surprised with a budget figure. But it just looks so impressive to me. Now, a lot of these figures have these back pegs. I'm not sure what that's meant for, if it's meant for their weapons or what, but... Oh, maybe it is. Wow, that's pretty... Oh, that's kind of cool. Sweet. So you're seeing this on the spot. I'm just like experimenting here. That's actually pretty cool. I like that look for Black Panther. But yeah, in terms of articulation, he has the same articulation as Thor, except there is a shoulder swivel right there. So you can go up like that and swivel it around. So you get more of a range than Thor. In terms of articulation, elbow it's single jointed, can barely get, no, it's not really 90 degrees, almost get there. And just like Thor, the thighs do go out, but there's nothing blocking it like there was with the Thor figure. And single jointed knees as well. All right, now let's take a look at Doctor Doom next. So box art of Doctor Doom right there. Same package art you saw before. Let's go ahead and rip them open. All right, here's Dr. Doom out of the box, and first things first, the accessory, like we saw before, there's the mystical eye again. It's just such a trippy thing. This kind of looks like the hell is that thing in G.I. Joe? The Cobra, whatever. Kind of looks like the Cobra logo. This one is probably the dullest one about all the accessories. I mean, the sculpting's definitely there. It's just the green seems really muted, but it's a basic figure, so I'm not surprised. All right, now let's take a look at the figure itself. And when looking at Dr. Doom's head sculpt, I love the silver finish on his face. That detail looks so nice. It kind of reminds me of the Marvel Legends sculpting. I didn't say it was the same quality, but it reminded me of that. It's really cool. I love the silver accents as well on the gauntlets and the shoulders and the midsection here and on the boots. So paint application in terms of silver finish is nice. It's like a silver gray finish. I don't want to say metallic. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and comments below. But the sculpting overall of this figure is beautiful. However, unlike the Black Panther figure and even the Thor figure, this one doesn't have a movement in the head because, again, I love the sculpting of this. It's all this spiky, weird stuff here because he's a monster. Get it? But because of that, you can't move the head. Oh, wait, no, can you? I don't want to break this. Okay, there's barely any movement on the head Like, there's barely movement on the head, so it's just like that, pretty much. Same thing with Thor, though, because of these shoulder pads, it can only go up and down. There are no shoulder swivels. Now, it has single-jointed elbows just like the other ones, but this is even worse because it can barely get up, like, just like that. I mean, you'd have to just move it like that if you want to get full 90, but, yeah, barely any articulation on the arms. There are articulation on the legs, same thing like you see on the other figures, so it does go out like that. Single jointed knees, and I like the little cuts right here. This is pretty impressive. Like I said, overall, the sculpting of these figures are nice. Articulation is a little lacking, but some of them is really good. Some of the articulation is really good, like the one on Black Panther. I just wish they would have made the shoulders swivel just like Black Panther's for this figure and for the Thor figure. And the cool attention to detail here. For the quote-unquote good mystical eye versus the bad one, you can see it has that gold ring around it, and the eye is green because of Dr. Doom. And then this one, the eye is blue because of Doctor Strange, and it has a silver circle around it, like sort of a silver ring. And you can see it here on the Thor figure as well. So if you're wondering which eye is good, the blue is good, the green is bad. All right, now let's take a look at Iron Man, and I don't think they classify this as a Hulk Buster outfit, but it's supposed to be his mech strike suit, but it looks really similar to a Hulk Buster outfit. I'm sorry, it's more specifically known as the Hunter suit. Sorry about that. But on the front of the box, you see the box art, see the image of the Iron Man figure, where the Hunter suit is accessory, and this goes hand in hand. Like over the past year, I've seen Hasbro been doing this. No more plastic clamshells. In past years, what they would have done is they would have had this covered with a plastic clamshell or had a box, but now you can see they're just completely leaving it open. And then on the back here, you just see the image of the Iron Man figure, and then like the cool little gimmick thing it can do. It says Cannon Reveal. Just press this button and you can see them. We'll take a look at that here in a second. All right, here's Hunter Suit Iron Man out of the box. And let's start with his weapon first. It looks like it's like a chainsaw slash blaster hybrid. You can see the eye right there, and I love the detailing on this. Then you see the little chainsaw blade or sword, whatever it is. And the peg, it can attach either to the left or the right arm. There is no peg in the back this time, so you can't peg it on there. So let's go ahead and just pop this onto his left arm. And then we'll take a look at the figure itself. This is nice. It's pretty dull, like in terms of the red, it's really muted, but it's to be expected with a basic figure. Now, when it comes to the head sculpt, yeah, that looks like Iron Man. The only downside is it doesn't move. There's no articulation. It's basically just sculpted in there. The arms look dope, though. You can see like these monster claws coming out of his shoulders. It's basically like the Hulkbuster on zombie steroids, pretty much, or monster steroids, because you see all these textures on here. The one thing I'll say is if any customizers end up picking this up, they could do some serious work on this, because I think this would look dope with a better paint finish or paint application. There aren't any articulations on the knees, as you can see. Typically with their larger figures, they tend to scale back with articulation. So I'm going to go over that right now. So there isn't any knee articulations on there, so you can't move that. They do go out like this much and back that much. There are cuts on the side, so you can kind of spread like that. But in terms of the arms, it's just cut right there. There isn't any shoulder swivel. So naturally just only move it back up and down. There is a single jointed elbow, which actually is pretty impressive. It gets about 90 degrees. And then of course you can move it from, but to break this, move it. Oh no, wait a minute, you can't. Okay. So apparently these can't really go side to side that much. All right, never mind then. Let's see if this side can. Yeah, just barely. So you can't really get him to close his hands in just like that. All right, now we'll take a look at the gimmick. If I just flip it around here, there's the little latch or the switch. You just push it, and it lifts up the front two covers, and then you can expose like the cannon. But here's the cool thing. If I zoom in here, you see the eye. When I push the handle, you see how it like covers it? I think it's more meant to go like this when you push it all the way down. Like that, but I think it's funnier if you just do like the unimpressed, like bored eyes. If you just go, yep, there's the cannons right there. And I have to say, I like the details in there. I don't know if these are supposed to be teeth or claws, but you can see them right here. The thing is, I would have preferred if they would have painted the cannon holes or like the gun holes silver, just to differentiate what they are. I know it's a basic figure, but a little bit goes a long way for me, in my opinion. If they had painted that, it would have been a lot better in terms of aesthetics for the figure. Then again, it is a basic figure, so you can't complain really too much. All right, now here all the figures staying together, and for size comparisons, looks like Black Panther and Thor tower a little bit over Doctor Doom. And there's the Hulk Mech Strike Hunter suit in the back. Honestly, it just looks like a Hulkbuster. But in terms of size comparisons, you can see Doctor Doom is the shortest one. And I was thinking about army building Doctor Doom, depending how he scales with the Marvel Legends. So let's go and take a look at that next. And yeah, that does not work. Oh, I guess he could be like his little henchman, I guess, of like little Doom bots running around. So if this ever goes on clearance, I might pick up 2 or 3 of them just to army build around Doctor Doom. I guess for perspectives, you could just move it forward, and photography shots could work. But as it stands, now he just looks like Doctor Doom's little brother. And next size comparison I wanted to do was this Iron Man Mech Strike Monster Hunter suit next to a Marvel Legends Hulk, mainly because I picked this up with the intention of using it with some of my Marvel Legends comic book Hulks, just because buying the Toy Biz one doesn't make sense anymore, and buying the Diamond Select one is kind of eh. So for 20 bucks, I think these actually scale pretty well. So if I put them from back to back, yeah, I mean, I think that works. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I think for a $20 option, this definitely works as a Hulkbuster outfit. All right, next size comparison. Here he is sitting next to the other Mech Strike figure I purchased last year. Like I mentioned, I picked up the Iron Man one, and I think that scales well with this suit. In terms of Marvel Legends, I mean, it kind of works, I guess. Not so much. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, some overall thoughts on these figures. I definitely like them. For the price point that I paid for them, about $10 to $11, and the big ass Hulk one being about 20, I think they're totally worth it. Especially just because if you're a fan of like this type of stuff. I like the design of these things and the sculpting. Articulation definitely leaves a lot more to be desired, which I understand because they're budget figures. But in terms of sculpting, they're pretty freaking nice. They just harken back to when I was a kid and Toy Biz did these crazy ass shits with like their X-Men characters or Avengers characters. That's what really brought me and appealed me to these figures. And also, if you ever watch the Marvel HQ version series of these things, it's pretty entertaining, actually. I highly recommend checking them out. And I hope at some point they make a Doctor Strange mech suit version. I'll put a picture of it right now to check it out, because that design looks dope. I hope at some point Hasbro does a version of that in figure form. But in terms of ranking, I would say my favorite figure from this is probably the Black Panther one at number 1. Number 2, that giant Iron Man hunter suit, I guess they call it. Number 3, Thor. Number 4, Doctor Doom, just because of limited articulation. But in my opinion, they're still worth it if you're a fan of these types of things. For kids, I definitely understand. Like, they'll definitely appeal to kids, especially if they watch that series. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and comments below, YouTubers. And like always, if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't already yet subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.